Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
So I'm really pleased that you're all here, and what we're doing today is making a celebration of Jim Gray. I first met Jim Gray in 2001 when I was running the UK eScience core program, and I argued with him about eScience for the next 5 years. And I felt I lost every single argument to Jim. It was just impossible to win. And so I decided in the end it was easier to join Microsoft than argue with Jim. So, and prior to 2001, the people I used to interact with was IBM, of course, and my friends at IBM. I never even thought that Microsoft could have a role, but I do actually believe they can have a role in democratizing and making tools that are easy for people to use. I don't think we've done that yet, but I believe that's still possible. Anyway, when I got to Microsoft, to my surprise, I discovered that Jim Gray had called his research group the eScience Research Group. So I obviously had some effect. Right? So anyway, so it is, you know, it was a great tragedy that Jim disappeared and was lost at sea. So that was a big blow, and we've actually believe he pioneered a lot of the stuff that we now have around us. He did the first geographic system that led to things like Google Earth and Bing Maps and so on. Couldn't get any Microsoft product group to be at all interested in that, so we essentially gave it to Google. That was Terra Server. And then he met an astronomer, which I'll come back to later on, which obviously diverted him from his cause. But we thought we would honour Jim by an award each year about the person who's contributed most to this multidisciplinary network distributed eScience world that we now live in, data-intensive science. And we have had some very wonderful winners in the past, and we have a wonderful winner this year. So I'd like to just show a quick video before I present the award for the 2011 Jim Gray Award. So can we roll the video, please?
Jim Gray was such an awesome colossus.
He was always very interested in what other people did, and he really made you feel special when you were with him.
This is a collective thing. This is something we all deserve together because we're all pushing for the same thing that Jim had the original vision for.
I think Jim brought the best of computer science down to real-world problems.
Microsoft Research, since 2008, we've presented the Jim Gray Award at our annual eScience meeting.
So the Jim Gray Award is for work in what is called data-intensive science, but it means, I think, more than that, in that much of the data-intensive science has to be collaborative.
Collaboration is just essential because studying these complex systems, no one person can understand all of the science, all of the technology, all of the nuances associated with the data.
Essentially what was the essence of what Jim was trying to get across, which is the importance of this fourth paradigm and the idea that you know, how we manage data and how we effectively use data and ultimately get to knowledge from that data and communicate that knowledge.
All of the people who have won the Jim Gray Award have done a lot to help other scientists do better work.
What I'm most passionate about is accelerating scientific discovery. My inspiration for collaboration is 14-year-old girls. 14-year-old girls collaborate big time. They're never off the phone. They're always on the websites. They're always doing Facebook. They're always twittering away. They're constantly gossiping. We need scientific gossiping. I applied Facebook ideas to collaborating and sharing of scientific protocols.
I'm an Earth system scientist. I study the Earth. I'm mainly interested in hydrology. The study of snow in the hydrologic cycle is important because so much of our water supply comes from melting snow. And worldwide, probably a sixth of Earth's population depends on snow and glacier melt for their water supply. That's over 1 billion people. Our group freely shares everything we do, all the measurements we make, all the data we collect up in the mountains. That way we sort of help science progress.
My area is mainly in computational biology, so I actually use computers to try and solve biological problems. I've become interested in scholarly communication and basically trying to address the question, can we improve the way that science is disseminated and comprehended?
Ocean science is trying to understand the ocean. I think it goes beyond that. It tries to see how does the ocean impact the entire planet? How does it interact with the atmosphere? How do things on the land affect the ocean? So when I first started out as a young PhD student, people would collect water in bottles and they'd get 200 samples. And those 200 samples would take 1 year to analyze. I, on the other hand, was using a computer to collect 8,000 samples and it was analyzed within an hour. I think it allowed us to really look at the fine, detailed structure of the ocean and see things that we couldn't see by a sample every 200 yards. I think winning the Jim Gray Award is actually more a recognition of ocean sciences, and I hope that it will inspire other young scientists to use computers, to use information technology in new ways. How do you bring all of these complex and enormous data sets together? How do you bring people together? And how can I get better science by using computer science tools?
The future of eScience is about developing the tools to enable scientists to manage and understand data more rapidly and more easily. My hope for the future is that people won't be talking about eScience in 10 years' time because it will be the normal way to do science. So eScience will become science as we go to the future. So I'm sure you figured out who this year's award winner is. So I would like to ask Mark Abbott to come up and receive the award in recognition for his outstanding contributions to integrating biological and physical sciences, for early innovations in data-intensive science in oceanography, and for his educational leadership. So please will you... I do have one other thing to say. It's difficult because my colleagues at this table forbid me to tell Irish jokes, no jokes on women. It's just very difficult. I'm a bit handicapped here. However, this year I would like to make one correction. All right. So in 2007, we also presented an eScience Award, and we presented it to someone who had been associated with Jim Gray, and really was one of the fundamental changes. I think I have to review what progress we've made in eScience in 10 years on Wednesday. And one of the things that strikes me is that the Sloan Digital Sky Survey really is a path blazer. And so what I'd like to do is show the second video, a very short video, and then present a rather special award. So I hope you'll enjoy this rather brief video here. Thank you.
I'm Alex Salai. I'm at the Johns Hopkins University. I'm a professor in astrophysics, and I also do quite a lot of work in cosmology and large databases. Meeting with Jim was one of those rare things which really, you say there is a meeting that changed my life. It was a meeting that changed my life. So I was really doing pure astrophysics until then, and then we met in San Francisco and talked for a whole day. And then afterwards I started to do increasingly computer science like things, and I was teaching him astrophysics, he was teaching me databases, and we talked 5-6 times a day on the phone, and we wrote tens of thousands of lines of code together. It was a very, very intense journey, and I think through this process we really did make a difference. Jim Gray was such a special person, so he had an extremely broad perspective on not just of computer science, which he pioneered, but also of many other sciences. But he was also able to absorb other sciences, so the deep knowledge in other sciences in a very short amount of time. So I gave him some astronomy books, he went away sailing, and then he came back an astronomer. Whenever we talked, so he made you feel special, and made you feel that your idea is the greatest in the world. And all in all, Jim was such a powerful intellect, of which there are only a few born in every century. So I would advise young and emerging scientists that be daring, take risks, attempt the impossible.
So this is correcting an omission from our Jim Gray Award winners from 2007. Can I ask Alex Saleh to come and receive an award? In recognition for outstanding contributions to astronomy and data-intensive science and for advancing our understanding of the universe. Alex. We're going to have a talk from Mark in a moment, but I should just make a quick comment about the Hungarian Mafia, all right? So it turns out that Alex's parents knew Charles Simone's parents. And Charles Simone was the person who came from Xerox PARC and created Word, which became an integral part of Office. Because their parents knew each other, Alex was in Seattle, and so they arranged to meet, and Alex was enthusiastic as usual about the problems he had with astronomy, with data and so on, and Charles immediately said, well, you should meet Jim Gray, and that's when Alex flew down to San Francisco to meet Jim. So Hungarians had a lot to do with it, so I'm grateful that interaction happened. So can I suggest that you go to the restroom or whatever, and we reconvene in 5 minutes for Mark to give his Jim Gray keynote, which is on knowledge ecosystems, data-intensive science is more than speeds and feeds. So we'll start that in 5 minutes, okay? Thank you very much.